In 1919, on the 11th day of the 11th month, November 11th, at 11 o'clock a.m., President Woodrow Wilson established Armistice Day in honor of the end of the Great War, World War I, and to honor all of the veterans that served in that war. Later on, in 1954, President Eisenhower changed the name from Armistice Day to Veterans Day to celebrate and honor all members of the U.S. military, both past and present. So today at Summit Christian School, we are celebrating Veterans Day, and to honor and celebrate our veterans, we sat down virtually with a veteran of the U.S. Army, CJ Collier, and his wife Aisha to learn more about their experiences serving in the Army.
Hello, my name is Aisha Collier, and I am the wife of Corwyn Collier.
Hello.
We are here today to answer questions about Veterans Day, and we wanted to be able to do an interview for you using the questions that you provided for us.
Why did you want to be a soldier?
Were you in the Air Force, a Marine Force, or a Land Force?
What inspired you guys to join the military?
Why did he fight in the military?
What military school did you go to?
My question for you is, how long have you been in the military?
When did you serve in the Army?
And also, were you scared when you went to the military?
So we wanted to do this in this format, Zoom, so that you can see both of us, and I would be actually asking him the questions that were submitted to me. So we're going to talk about your military background. Can you tell us a little bit about your military background?
I joined the Army National Guard in 2006. Actually, I joined March 1st, 2006 in the Army National Guard. I ended up becoming a military police. That was my MOS, which is called a 31 Bravo. And I ended up going to basic training in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. That's where all MPs train. And I was in basic training for over 21 weeks. It's 21 weeks because we don't have, unlike other MOSs, our training is not split from what we call basic training into AIT, which is your tech school or your school for your actual learning. So ours is all combined into one group. So we don't do the usual 9 weeks of basic training and then go into the other part. We do a complete 21 weeks of training.
Okay. What inspired you to join the military, and why did you want to become a soldier?
What inspired me to join the military was I had an older brother who was in the Marine Corps, and he was influential in my life as my older brother. And I had graduated college, and I was in a point in my life where I still didn't know what I wanted to do. And he had Iraq around the same time that I had graduated from college. And after talking with him and one of my former roommates who was in the Army National Guard at the time, it kind of seemed like something I really wanted to do. I wanted to serve as far as, doing my part for the country. So after having extensive conversations with both of them, I made a decision that I would sign up and I would join.
Okay, thank you for that. How long do you have to stay in the Army?
Contracts vary based on what you sign up for. Bonuses can make a difference as far as your actual contract, but usually it's about a 4 to 6 year commitment.
Thank you. How long do you have to stay in the military until you retire?
If you want to stay in the military till your retirement, you have to do 20 years. And then you can successfully fully retire. Some people do more because the longer you stay in, of course, the better the retirement package. And you don't have quite the rank where you want to be at, you can do a little bit more so that your rank can be up a little bit higher so that your retirement package is a little bit better.
Okay, thank you for covering retirement. What do you like about the Army, and did you like serving in the military?
I loved serving in the Army. It was fun. It gave me a sense of pride and a sense of joy. So I really liked the active part of the Army, as far as, being in the field. When I say field, I mean being out doing like different types of missions and things like that. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed firing the different types of weapons, learning how they worked, how they just the components of them, and going to the range and shooting and things like that. All that stuff made it fun for me to be in the military or in the Army.
When you joined the military, were you scared when you went into the military?
I wasn't scared when I joined. It's something you kind of know when you sign up for. So I wasn't scared. It was more or less leaving my family behind for those 21 weeks. It kind of made me uneasy, but I knew Aisha would be okay.
Why did you want to be in the war?
Have fun with Army playing.
My question is, did it hurt when you got hit by a bomb? And are you still okay, and did you need any surgery?
How many purple stars have you got? And have you ever fought in the war with any of your best friends you knew?
What was it like in the war?
What were you fighting for Afghanistan?
I jumped off a plane.
How did you get hurt?
So my question is, what is your favorite MRE? Because I never had one before and they seem really cool. And yeah.
My question for you is, did you ever have a second of regret when you were in combat, thinking should I really do this?
Okay, we're going to venture into life in Iraq. Corwyn Collier did not fight in Afghanistan. He fought in Iraq. Did you like the war? That is a question that was submitted.
I can't say I liked it, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't something that I was, dreading when I woke up every morning, or I didn't feel like it was, a burden on my shoulders. So I can't say that I liked it, but it wasn't something that I felt was overbearing.
Okay. What was it like in the war?
Basically, you basically get up every day, and we had missions every day. And when I say missions, we usually go out on some type of detail. I was a military police, like I stated earlier, so my job was to kind of go over there, help their police officers train, help them set up different checkpoints on the road. I did a mission over there where our very first mission over there was to help with their election and making sure that their election ran smoothly and safely. We checked all of the polling sites. We actually set up trucks to kind of get the election ballots to the Baghdad so they can be counted. So every day was just different. Basically asked to do for that day. And then we always had always had one day off, which was usually Mondays we had off. And so that was our day to kind of relax and just, take care of any little, details we needed to take care of, like laundry or, go shopping for food to put in your room. Just anything that you wanted to do on your own personal time was usually put aside for Monday.
This question that I'm going to ask you was not submitted by a student, but I think it would preface some of the information that you're given about polling sites and training police. What was the purpose of the Iraqi Freedom War?
The war was we were over there to kind of help with, one, looking for weapons of mass destruction, and then two, helping them establish a new democracy after we took out Saddam Hussein, and trying to figure out where would they go after being under a dictatorship for so long. we wanted to kind of help them create a democracy very similar to our own here in the United States. So that was basically my mission, was to help them be able to sustain their country once we pulled out and left them to be on their own.
And for clarity purposes, can you talk about the difference between a democracy and a dictatorship, just so students are aware of the difference?
A democracy, well, we have what we call a Republican democracy or a representative democracy, and that's where we elect people to represent us here in the United States. And basically, that is what we were trying to get them to have in Iraq, so that they can elect officials to make decisions for them. They had a dictatorship, which was under Saddam Hussein. And a dictatorship is when only one person controls everything in all aspects of the country, and they usually do it through threat and through force. And they usually use the military, which he did use in order to control people. So we were trying to liberate them from that situation and allow them to be able to make their own decisions as a collective, as a country, and not having one person make all their decisions for them.
Thank you for that clarity, Mr. Collier. What was it like in the war? Why did you want to be in the war?
The war was it was hot every day, almost every day. It basically, like I said, to reiterate, basically it was just the war was just us going on mission every day. So did I want to be in the war? No, but I knew what would happen. I knew that it was a possibility, because that's when you sign up. And then I was a what we call a critical MOS, or a critical job. So I knew the possibility of me going was real. So it wasn't a choice. It was one of those things where where you signed up for, you got to do it. And it's like anything else in life. It's that if you sign up for something and you know the possibilities and the consequences that you can eventually be brought into it. So, but war it's not glamorous. It's nothing to it's not a video game. It's real life. People do get hurt. People do lose their lives. So I don't want to ever make it seem like it's some glorious thing, but we do pay honor and respect to those who do it, because only a small percentage of us in this country do it.
Have you ever flown in a big Army plane, or have you ever jumped off a plane?
I have flown in a plane. I've flown in a Black Hawk. I've flown in a C-130, and that's it. Those are the two major aircrafts I've been on in the plane. I've never jumped out of a plane, so I don't know what that's like. I've propelled out of a helicopter, but that's just kind of like sliding down a rope. I've done that, but other than that, I've never had the opportunity to jump out of a plane with a parachute.
How do you fight? Did you ever have a second of regret when you were in combat, thinking if you should do this?
We fought basically in cities. Mostly everywhere we went were cities that most of the stuff took place at. So that's usually how a lot of the combat and things that took place happened, were in these in their little areas and cities. No, I did not regret anything as far as the combat aspect. Like I said, it's something that you sign up for as part of the life that you choose to do. I mean, if I did not want to be a frontline fighter, I could have easily chosen a different job. Every job in the military does not guarantee that you're going to be put into a battle situation. There are jobs that you can pick that does not put you in that position. So once again, I kind of knew what I was signing up for when I decided to do it. And it kind of, like I said, it's one of those things where you like I said, if you come back home, you appreciate everything that you were able to do for your country. And that's how I kind of look at it. So I don't regret any of it.
Okay, thank you for that. How did you get hurt? Did it hurt when you got, I'm going to let you answer the first question, and then after you answer the first question, I'm going to ask you some follow-up questions.
I got hurt. Basically, I was in my vehicle, and I got hit by a roadside bomb, or what we call an IED over there, which stands for improvised explosive device. I got hit by that while I was sitting in the passenger side of the vehicle. It detonated right by my truck and exploded and caused me to be injured.
Can you talk to us about how long you were in the hospital and what type of injuries you sustained?
Well, it took a total from when the time the bomb hit to the time I got placed on a helicopter. That was about a 17-minute wait. I couldn't. That was probably the longest 17 minutes of my life. And I actually ended up going to the hospital. I was put in the hospital for 9 months. I went to Walter Reed Hospital in Washington, D.C. But prior to that, I woke up after that whole accident. I stayed woke during that whole process. I was able to kind of like talk my way through, help my team, speak with my team and things like that, and kind of make calls back to base. And then once they got me out of the truck and got me on a helicopter, I was flown to a small hospital in Iraq. And then they kind of did what they could do there to stabilize me. And then they sent me to Germany. And that's when I woke up. I passed out in the hospital in Iraq. And then I finally woke up in Germany like 2 days later. And after that, they flew me home to Washington, D.C., where I was at in Walter Reed Hospital, like I just said, for over 9 months. And that's where I kind of did all my recovery and surgeries during that time period.
And so what type of injuries did you sustain?
I lost my fingers on my right hand except for my thumb, so I pretty much have just my right hand with my thumb. And then I ended up sitting on top of the bomb when they actually hit through my truck, so I lost 35% of my right hamstring and 25% of my left. And then I ended up losing my tibia and my right leg. So I only have one of the bones in my right leg in the bottom part below the knee. And I lost the majority of my calf muscle in my right leg too. So those were pretty much all the injuries that I ended up suffering from.
How many purple stars have you got? I clarified that to say Purple Hearts.
I have one Purple Heart for my combat injuries. So I do have one Purple Heart.
And on a lighter note, what is your favorite MRE?
My favorite MRE is spaghetti. It's a good one. And it's a beef and mac one too. Yeah, those are the best ones. Those are the only good ones that I can say. The rest of them are not that great.
For the people listening to the video that may not know what an MRE is, can you describe what it is or tell us more about what an MRE is?
MRE is what we call meals ready to eat. And basically they come in these brown packages. So it's like a surprise unless you read the label and figure out what's in it. But it's packed with tons of food with a lot of calories. I would say I think it comes on average, it's like 5,000 calories worth of food in each MRE. And basically, because we burn so many calories on a day-to-day basis with being soldiers, on top of like all the equipment that we wear and things like that, so we need all the food. And like I said, it may not be the greatest tasting thing in the world, but it comes with the main meal, and then it usually comes with like a couple of snacks and like either some type of crackers or bread. And then it comes with like a peanut butter spread or a different type of cheese spread. Now those are really good too. Now the cheese spread and the peanut butter spreads are really good. There's a chocolate peanut butter one in there that's really good, and then it's a jalapeno cheese spread that's really good. And you kind of like just put them on your crackers or your bread, and so that adds. And then the desserts too. They got a poppy seed muffin and a brownie that's really good too. So
it sounds like you're very hungry right now, Mr. Collier.
Those are the best parts. Like I said, you might not like the main meal, but the snacks that come with it are real good.
Everybody's always here for the snacks, right? Just here for
right.
What do veterans do?
How long did it take you to learn how to do everything you need to be a veteran?
How long have you been a veteran?
How many trainings did you guys do in a week?
All right, so we're going to segue into life after Iraq and recovery. So one of the questions was, how long have you been a veteran and what do veterans do?
I have been a veteran for 2009, so I've been a veteran for the last 11 years now. You become a veteran after so many years of service, so it's a status that you earn. If you're active duty, it's 1 year. If you're a National Guard or Reserve, it's 3 years of service, because you haven't, as an active duty, you're there every day, all day. As a National Guard and Reserve, you're only there 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks in the summer. So your time has to add up into those days a little differently. So I've been a veteran for the last 11 years. Veterans, what we do is basically, you can still be in the military and still be considered a veteran, or you can be retired like myself and be a veteran, and you just live your life as normal. You know what I mean? You can get once again, if you retire, then you get, retirement privileges and things like that. But a veteran is just a person who served in the armed forces. And I mean, other than that, there's nothing else really that we do. I mean, we can go and get to another job field like I did. I went into education, or you can kind of just enjoy your life and be on the beach, I guess.
All right, I'm going to ask 2 questions, but I'm going to also answer those questions. The 2 questions that I'm going to ask came from students. How long did it take you to learn everything you needed to do to become a veteran? How many training sessions do you guys do in a week? So just as Mr. Collier stated, there is no qualifications to be a veteran. It's pretty much after you are retired from service. You don't need to learn anything to become a veteran. You just become a veteran. And there's no training associated with becoming a veteran.
Will you like having your husband in the military?
I have another question. What was it like for your wife to hear that you were injured?
The last set of questions is questions that students had for me as a military wife. How did you like having your husband in the military? It was basically good. It had its good side and it had its rough patches. The good side was that, we were able to afford our kids. We have 3 sons. We have a son in the 10th grade, son in the 8th grade, and a son in the 3rd grade. We were able to afford them a better opportunity and position ourselves better in our career paths. So that was awesome. What was the stress part about the military for me was after Mr. Collier was injured and me coping and dealing and managing a family with that. At the time, we had 2 sons when he was injured, and one was 5 and one was 2. So very, very small children, and traveling back and forth between Washington, D.C. and Ohio, and making sure that Mr. Collier had everything that he needs, as well as our kids had everything that they needed as well, socially, emotionally, and academically. What was it like for your wife to hear that you were injured? It was very, very stressful, very stressful. I was living my best life that day. I went out and I bought a new car, and I was excited because it was like the first car I had ever bought by myself. And then I was taking a nap, and I was woken up from my nap with the phone call from the military saying that he was injured and they did not think he was going to live. So it was very taxing for me. Got a phone call back later on that they had stabilized him and that he was going to Germany. Then I had a freaking out attack because I had never flown and I didn't have a passport at the time. So they were able to stabilize him a little bit more in Longstuhl, Germany, and then get him back to DC. And so we were able to fly to DC, myself, as well as Mr. Collier's dad, my father-in-law. We were able to fly and actually get to see him in person. And from there, it started the process of, surgeries after surgery after surgery. But as you can see, he survived. He's doing really well. He's a teacher. He's doing his passion of educating students and, you know, being phenomenal in that world. He also does physique competition. So would you like to talk to them a little bit about that? I know that wasn't one of their questions, but I feel like they should know how you've kind of persevered and how you've reframed your life to, you know, be successful at something different. You can kind of talk to them about how you were a track athlete and how that kind of transcended into what you're doing now and your mental health aspect of it all.
As Ms. Collier was just mentioning, yes. So all my life I ran track, played football, and I wrestled, but track was the main thing that I really did and really focused on. And growing up, and I went to college, as you know, I said earlier, I had graduated from college. I went to college on a track scholarship, and I was very good in college. And I had Olympic hopes at one point in time, and I thought I would one day be an Olympic athlete. And I kind of got injured and never really quite healed back to 100% status of making it to where I wanted to be as far as my speed and things of that nature. So after the injury had happened, I kind of didn't know what athletics had been a big part of my life, and so I wanted to figure out what would be done next and what path I would take. And so a friend of mine back in 2012 introduced me to what we call men's physique competitions. It's kind of like bodybuilding, but it's a little bit different in the aspect that the way it's in the same realm, but it's just a little bit different. So I competed in my very first men's physique show in 2014, and I ended up winning it. And so then I kind of went on this path of training for it and actually taking it serious, and it became I became a pro in 2016, and I've been a pro for the last 4 years. And, you know, the last 2 competitions I played, I've placed in the top 6. So I've been moving my way up in the rankings of that. And I started doing that because I needed something to kind of make me competitive. I'm a very competitive person, and it's part of my nature to want to do to be the best at something, I guess you could say. Even when I was in the Army, I wanted to be the best soldier I could be and be the best sergeant as I could be. So I'm very competitive in that aspect of my life. So men's physique helped me mentally be a better person. It gave me something to strive for. You know, I have my family and things like that, and I love the goals that we set as a family, and I love the goals that we do, and I love my job as a teacher. But I needed something else for me only that may help me become focused on the fact that it made me feel like I wasn't injured. It made me feel like I was 100% whole, especially coming from my track as background, you know, and not being able to actually get on the track and speed and run like I used to run. Although I can run and I can do, you know, more than I used to be able to do 11 years ago when I first was injured. But men's physique has just given me a lot of peace of mind over the last couple of years that I've been doing it. And it's one of those things where, you know, I have a lot of fun doing it. So for a lot of us soldiers who come home, they have to find something in order for them to be happy. And this is what I found in order for me to be happy. So that is the biggest, that helped me, like she said, mentally. It gives me peace.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Collier. Mr. Collier is a teacher at Maple Heights High School, and he teaches social studies, African American history, as well as the cost of war. And did I say American history already?
You said social studies. But yes, I teach U.S. history, African American history. I teach a class called Cost of War, which is a class that I created. And I also teach another class that I created called Crime in America. So these are, of course, those are all what we call electives except for U.S. history. So that is what I do here. And I'm also the head track coach of the team here at Maple Heights High School.
Yes. And so I'm Aisha Collier, and I'm the K-6 curriculum supervisor at Stillman Road Falls City School District. And I've been in Stowe this is my 2nd year. So we're gonna go ahead and sound off. We appreciate you listening to this interview, and hopefully you gathered some newfound information about veterans, and you can use this information to have conversations at a deeper level with other people that are veterans to see what type of experiences they may have had as well. So thank you and have a great day.
Bye.